How do you get ratings and reviews when you haven't done any work yet? That's a great question. I'm Angela Brown and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question and I get to help you find an answer. Now there's a house cleaner who is going out on her own. She's been working for a previous house cleaning company and she's getting ready to go out on her own and she doesn't have any of her own ratings and reviews yet. And she wanted to know, can she borrow some ratings and reviews from the company she just came from? And the answer to that is no. You are employed by that company. Those ratings and reviews belong to that company. But she doesn't have any ratings and reviews of her own, and she wanted to know, how do I get my own if I don't already have some? Excellent question. Okay, now you have been inside the homes of the people that you cleaned for. And so they can write you a reference rating. Okay, this is not like, hey, this company cleaned for me, but this person was in my house hired as part of another cleaning company. She's now starting her own cleaning company, but while she was in my house, she was very thorough. She was on time. She never had a callback, yada, yada. And they can leave you a reference, a character reference based on, I know this person, I've met them, I've watched them clean, although they worked for another company. I would also leave inside that rating and review some kind of a disclaimer that said it would be unethical for me to hire her away from the company that she once was employed by. But as she goes out on her own, I recommend you give her a chance. Okay, so that is a rating and review someone can write for you that is not about the company that you used to work for, but about you as an individual. Now, you can also write a character reference for somebody that you know. For example, I'm asked all the time, 40, 50 times a day, from emails and IMs and instant messages and all different social medias, can you recommend somebody in San Antonio, Texas, in Lake Mary, Florida, all over the country? And I do have a network of people that I will recommend based on, I know this person, they're in my private Facebook group. I've watched them for the last couple of years and I've listened in on the conversations. I know that they're kind. I know that they're fair. I know that their customers love them. I've seen them troubleshoot some of the issues inside their business, and they've gone through my training program. So I know the information that they know, and I know that they're good for the job that they do. So I've never personally hired them, and I let them know that right up front. I've never personally hired the person in Lake Mary, Florida, but I do recommend you give them a chance, okay? So that's a rating and review you can give someone that has not ever actually worked inside your home. Now, I was at a homeowners association meeting, and there was a woman who stood up and she said, if you have a chance and you need painting, please hire my friend Mac. And she introduced him as her friend. She said, when Mac came to my house, I was a little bit, hoping he would do a great job, but I hired him off of one note that was in the rating and review section on Google, only one. He only had one. He didn't even have a website yet. And she said, I would like to read this to you. And then she proceeded to read this letter. And I don't have the exact wording, but it went something like this. My homie Mac is starting a painting company because he knocked up his girl and he doesn't want to leave her hanging. So he's going to marry her and he needs the money so he can raise little Mac. He said, I've known Mac for 20 years. And he said, this guy will never leave anybody hanging. And I know he has the insurance and he has one of those fancy lifts that as a painter, you can go up 2 stories. So if you have a big house and you have money, hire my friend Mac. Okay. That was the character reference. And she's like, whoa, there's this guy and he's trying to do right by his girl. He's going to be a new dad. I want to help this guy out. And so she hired him on that one recommendation letter from his homie that he'd known for 20 years. Okay. So if you're getting started in the business and you are moving out on your own, or if you're just starting a cleaning business and you don't have any ratings and reviews, don't worry. You do need some because the rest of the world is going to come looking for your ratings and reviews. So what I recommend is this. I recommend that you watch your P's and Q's, as they say. That's when you go into a private Facebook group, for example, and you are among your peers. Watch the language that you use. Watch how you treat other people. Are you getting blocked and deleted from people because you've got an attitude? Because guess what? House cleaners know house cleaners. And there are a lot of house cleaners in your area already. And if someone says, oh, my schedule is full and I can't come, they might say, hey, I heard of this other house cleaner. You're the house cleaner. And they're going to say, you know what? That person is a hothead. I don't trust that person. That person has been kicked out of 5 Facebook groups that I know of. I don't recommend you have them in your house at all. Okay? That happens as well. So you want to make sure that the message that you portray moving forward is one of fairness. It is one of being polite. It's one of treating other people with respect. Because as you go out into the marketplace, that persona that you carry with you and that reputation is going to follow you, and it's going to follow you all around the internet. And we live in an era where you can't take any chances. The internet is so fast when somebody makes a post and it goes to Google. And there are programs now that lots of people use for their business that when you post a message, you can share it on a multiplicity of different platforms simultaneously. And so just like the woman that got up at the Homeowners Association who said, hire my friend Mac, she's trying to give him a chance. And she said he did a fantastic job. There was no bleeding on the paint. He didn't just come in and bump it and do like half of a layer. It was a full coverage of paint. She said he did all of the cut-in work properly. She said he did an amazing job. When asked later, her only thing was it took a little bit longer than she expected it to take. But she said the price was fair. He did an excellent job. I would totally hire him again in a heartbeat. Okay? So words like that get around. They get around in homeowners associations. They get shared at the bus stop. When somebody likes your work, they have a tendency to either go online and they'll do one of two things. They'll either say, and you see this in 1-star and 5-star reviews, they'll say this was the worst experience I ever had, or they'll say this was the best experience I ever had. If people get a 2 or a 3 and it's average, people don't usually spend the time and energy to write a rating and review. But you'll get the best and the worst, and people will find that online. So my recommendation is be the 5-star review type person in all of your dealings online, because that's going to go so far, so fast. And I would ask the people that you know, not to say that you've worked for them if you have not worked for them, but to ask the people that you know, hey, you've known me for a very long time. Can you give me a character reference? Can you explain that you've never seen me late for anything? Can you explain that I offer 100% satisfaction guarantee and that I have your back, and that, like Mac, he's not going to leave anybody hanging, right? And he didn't. He did an amazing job for this woman. And then she went around and she told all of her friends who had the money who could hire him. Okay, so that's how that works. Can you have ratings and reviews if you've never done any business? The answer is yes. All right, if this was helpful, give us a thumbs up. If you got questions or comments, those go in the notes below. Until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.